Okay, check it out. I think the biggest thing that plagues people learning jazz guitar is sounding like Milton from Office Space. If you haven't seen the movie, you can look up some clips, but basically, Milton mumbles and trails off and never really says anything super clear, but he's not saying gibberish, right? Like, we understand him, and his sentences generally follow English syntax, but it's not how we want to speak. And I've talked about this on my channel before, but I spent years playing all the right notes in this manner. So if I were to demonstrate on something like Out of Nowhere, it might sound like this. Right, now compare that with something like this. Now, hopefully you can hear that the second one is extremely clear, right? The first one, however, would get me an A in school. I'm hitting all the changes and I'm playing in time. The issue is that not once do I make a clear statement. I leave space, but it doesn't sound like it because there's no punctuation. You can't tell where one phrase ends and the next one starts. It's like one big run-on sentence. And it's like if I were to talk like that and I just took more time to say each word, that doesn't really change anything. Even if I were to mess with the dynamics by making it louder and quieter, nothing really helps because it doesn't address the actual problem, right? In the same vein, guitarists are super guilty of what I call the trail off, which sounds like mumbling and trailing off in speech. So like, right, it's like just comes from not being confident and making, playing with intention, right? It's like Milton. It's still English. It still makes sense, but it's a far cry from making a clear statement. Now, let me be very clear. I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm not saying, haha, this is what you sound like, and I don't sound like that. The point, above all else, is to say that I spent about 10 years in prestigious jazz programs, and no one really addressed this with me. I had one teacher who got close by telling me I needed more vocabulary, which sort of fixed the issue because studying language showed me what the problem was. But no one directly told me, hey, you sound like this, here's how to fix it. So that's what we're going to do today. So the first objective is this. Take the melody of the tune you're working on and break it up into its phrases. And don't worry about playing it in time. So for Out of Nowhere, just start with da-ba-doo-doo. And here's the key. You have to hear and visualize before playing. And I'm not talking about memorizing frets like, 3, 5, 2, 5. I'm saying hear and understand the scale degrees and or their relationship to the harmony. So do-ba-do-do would be 5, 6, 7, 9, and you can see that in the context of shapes. 5, 6, 7, 9, right? I encourage you to see chord shapes on the fretboard, but just don't let that be the only capacity in which you know the melody. I've talked about this before on the channel, doing it with nursery rhymes or folk songs, but now we're applying it to standards that we know. So continue that through the rest of the song. Cool. So you might say, okay, I can do that for the melody, but not when I start soloing. So now try doing the same thing, but composing in short bursts out of time. So again, over Out of Nowhere, I might just do a solo break and try to hear something, understand what it is, where it would be on the instrument, etc. Do not try to just make something up with a scale or hunt and peck for notes on the guitar until you stumble upon something cool. That's not the way. You have to hear it first. So, right? What if I was going to do like a double time line, maybe a little bit slower? So or whatever I played, right? And you don't have to sing them and then play them. I'm just demonstrating that the music has to exist independently of the guitar. Like I'm hearing the line first. The guitar has nothing to do with it, right? That's just like the machine through which like it is manifesting. Yeah, it makes sense. So do this through the tune just like you did the melody. Now, as we get better at this, these steps stop happening in a linear fashion, and they just feel like they happen concurrently. Like, I don't have to do A, then B, then C. I just hear, know, and play all at the same time, but I had to follow this process to get there. And again, sorry to sound like a broken record, but if you sit down and you're not hearing anything, you just got to be transcribing more. It will come. You will have no shortage of ideas, I promise. Now, obviously, we don't get to do this when we're playing a tune. We get one shot. But as I've said many times, the point of doing this is to curate the skill in practice so that it gradually becomes the essence of our approach to improvisation. This is why I have my students write etudes in this manner. The finished product, the etude, is not the point. The point is to hone this skill so that you eventually play this way. And you won't see overnight results. It's not a fun, quick fix. But if you make it a part of your routine, you will find that you are able to allow this to happen when you play. You start to hear things and just know what they are and where they are on the instrument. And you won't need to worry about sounding like Milton because you are hearing good jazz playing, which does not sound like that. Okay, have at it.